Hello, and welcome to the fourth programme in the series covering the Victorian Standard Chart of Accounts for Non-Profit Organisations, which is presented on behalf of the Office for the Community Sector. My name is Eddie McFall, and I'm a Client Manager from Matrix On Board. I'd like to welcome you to this, the fourth and final training programme for the Victorian Standard Chart of Accounts. The purpose of this session is to provide practical advice and guidance on the second and final stage of implementation and conversion of your accounting software to the Standard Chart of Accounts. Accompanying these training programs is a participant manual which you can download from this site. And to answer questions about the Standard Chart of Accounts and to provide advice and resources, there's a telephone help desk, email support and further information which can all be accessed from this site. Please note that the implementation of the Standard Chart of Accounts is voluntary for Victorian non-profit organisations who can still choose to use their existing Chart of Accounts. Before you begin the steps in this session, you'll need to have already undertaken the first stage of converting your software over to the Standard Chart of Accounts. The first stage is covered in Programme 3 of these training sessions. So if you haven't already done so, you'll need to do that stage before going any further with this session. The first part of this session guides you through how to manually update your accounting software with your new Chart of Accounts. It's relevant to those of you who've chosen the manual method of conversion to the Standard Chart of Accounts. For those of you who've chosen the electronic method, your accounting software will have already been automatically updated, and you'll not need to manually update your Chart of Accounts, although you will need to ensure that the accounts you've updated have uploaded without error. To update your accounting software, you'll need the Chart of Accounts printout from the last session or the Excel file where you did the mapping exercise. The next part is to open up your accounting software and access the Chart of Accounts, as what you're going to be doing is editing this to reflect your new Chart of Accounts. Start with the accounts that were marked with a tick. Identify these in your accounting software and update the existing account name and number with the new account name and number, which corresponds to the Standard Chart of Accounts. In most accounting packages, such as MyOb or QuickBooks, when you rename and renumber an account, it has the same effect as renaming a Word document. All the information remains, albeit with a new and different name. For the accounts that were marked with a cross, it is suggested that they are renumbered and made inactive. Choose account numbers that are at the end of the numbering range so that they don't interfere with the Standard Chart of Accounts numbering. I recommend that accounts are made inactive rather than deleted, because accounts may have been previously used and deleting them may delete historical transactions. I suggest that you consult specialist advice before deleting an account in your software. Some accounting software packages allow you to combine two accounts into one. You can use this feature when two existing accounts have been mapped to one account in the Standard Chart of Accounts. Now, if this feature isn't available, the easiest way is to rename and renumber one of the existing accounts to the Standard Chart of Accounts name and number, and then transfer the balance from the second account into the newly named account. The account which contained the transferred balance, which should now be 0, should be renumbered and made inactive. I'm now going to cover linked accounts. The accounts used by certain transactions, particularly payroll and GST, need to be set up as they're automatically posted to when processing most transactions. These are known as linked accounts. The linked accounts only need to be set up once, but it's really important that they're set up before processing any transactions. If you're unsure of how to do this, contact the help desk, your software provider, peak body, or professional advisor. This screen shows the path to follow and to update the payroll linkages in MyOb. Take a moment to familiarise yourself with it. The following screen shows the payroll linkages in QuickBooks. Again, take a moment to familiarise yourself with it. The participant manual lists the accounts that are required to be linked for payroll and GST. Once you've updated your accounting software with your new chart of accounts and checked the linked accounts, print out a copy of the trial balance and make sure you use the same date as the original one. Now firstly, check that the trial balance totals agree, and then review each account one by one to ensure that the balances of the individual accounts are as expected. For this step, you should ensure that the balances from the old accounts have been transferred correctly to the new accounts. Now if by chance the trial balance doesn't agree in total or in part, an error has occurred in the process. If the error can't be easily identified or rectified, you'll need to begin the process again, using the backup copy of the data file. Now again, if you're in any doubt or any difficulty, contact the help desk, your software provider, peak body or professional advisor. Once you have verified that both trial balances agree and that the linked accounts are set up correctly, you're ready to start entering transactions. The process has been a success. I would also recommend taking a backup copy at this stage so you have a reference of your newly updated file before you start to enter new transactions. This will be useful to verify the process to your auditors. Also, remember to keep all printouts and all workings for future reference and also for audit purposes. So that brings us to the end of this session and to the end of this series of training programs on the Victorian Standard Chart of Accounts. On behalf of the Office for the Community Sector, Matrix On Board and myself, I'd like to thank you for watching these training sessions, and I'm sure you've found them informative and worthwhile. Thank you and best of luck with your implementation.